You are listening to the Real Talk at the Z podcast. Hitting on topics that are real, relevant, and enriching. Discussing relationships, money, sex, men, women. So sit back, listen up, and let's have some real day-to-day conversation because
This is Real Talk at the Sea.
Real talk.
Hey. Listen, Zion, I am Pastor Melissa Johnson. I'm so excited to have you all join us today for Real Talk at the Z. I am just elated, right, to have none other than our very own Bishop Chris Johnson in the house.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to
Okay.
be here.
And then I have also with me Pastor Overton with us on today from Faith
Yeah.
Chapel, right? So we are super excited today. I know, throw the Z's up in your
The
F's.
Z's and the FC's. How you do that? How you do that?
So we just gonna throw everything up today. Okay, so we're excited today. I'm super excited today. We're gonna have a discussion today about generational blessings. I've been in church for a long time, and most of the time in church, most of the time I've always heard about generational curses.
Wow.
Right, and we talk a lot about generational curses, but today we wanted to discuss, generational blessings and what that looks like. And so, just to sort of set our foundation on how we're going to get started on today, the book of Exodus, it talks about where God says, "I will visit the iniquity of the fathers down to the fourth generation." But He says, "But the blessings, right, I will visit down to 1,000 generations."
My God.
So, I'm confused. Like, why are we always talking about curses when it's only going down 4?
Come on.
Right? But blessings go down 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. And so we want to talk about that today and what that looks like. And I want to talk about the generational blessing of a good name.
A name.
A good name. The Bible says, y'all know I'm going to go to the Bible. Y'all know I'm going to
Talk
go to the
about
Bible,
it.
right? So the Bible says that a good name is rather to be preferred than great riches and love and favor, right? Rather than silver and gold.
Right.
And so that let me know right there, you got to get your name right, right? And the favor's going to be right,
Yeah.
right? So we want to get our name right before we start trying to fix your credit. Okay. Anywho, y'all knew I was going to throw something in there like that, right? So anywho, so we want to talk about that today, and I really wanted to talk about it with the two of you, just because you are living epistles, if you would, that I'm able to look at and see this generational blessing that's coming down. Both of you are PKs, right?
Yep.
Both of you had parents. You had your father, Bishop Jay, who was, walking in ministry, doing great things. You had your mom, Pastor Kennedy. I don't know what she was, but who was also, doing great things in ministry. And now you two are in your prime,
Right.
if you would, right? It's your time, right? You're serving your present age right now, but you have already began to slightly, I heard y'all tell me we ain't done yet, but slightly, okay,
Yeah.
pass the torch to your children.
Yes.
So you began already with CJ and you've began with Kyla. So I'm seeing this generational thing and the good name. You can go in any place and you can say Johnson. Oh yeah, I know him. Go in and say Kennedy Overton. I know who that is, right? Just a good name. So I want y'all to talk to me today about what that feels like, to be able to, how do you feel when you go in somewhere and you mention your parents' name, right? What kind of feedback, what do you get from that? Just that generational blessing of being able to walk in this name.
Oh my.
I'll let you tackle that
Well,
first.
I was about to say, Bishop, don't be waiting on my answer. Wow, that's a great question. Whenever someone says Kennedy, I kind of quiver a little bit because that's a lot. That's a big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
You got Pastor Green, then you got my mom. It's a lot. It's a lot. You have to be careful how you walk. You got to be careful how you talk because the first thing they will say is, I know who her mama was.
Right.
And so it's important that not put on a facade.
Right.
be human,
Mm-hmm.
but also just remember the legacy and how would they, not just God, that's important, that's number one, but would they be pleased
See.
with what they've passed on and how we've taken it and moved it to the next level. So that's what I have a problem when people sometimes do that, because I'm like, oh, I'm great, God bless you, I'm highly favored. When sometimes I just want to say, today's not the day.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so when I hear it, it makes me proud, but there's also some pressure there.
Nope. That's good.
For sure.
That's good. That's
The
good.
the pressure of it.
Pressure.
The pressure of it is so on point. I remember getting the call that my dad had died. I think we were in a funeral home during the time. And that next Sunday, I had to preach, and I just happened to be on a series talking about Joshua. And I'm getting ready to preach. Joshua chapter 1 goes like this. And Moses, my servant, is dead.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right.
And then the text says, and God spoke to Joshua.
Wow.
And the weight of it hit me like Joshua was there the whole time, but God didn't start talking to him until Moses died.
Wow.
See.
And it was as if all of the weight,
Yeah.
because our father was first generation pastor.
Right.
So it was like, okay, I'm the next it's bigger than me. Like I'm a link in a chain. And it's like at that moment, God had to show me, okay, TP's gone. Now I got something to say to you.
Wow.
And so that pressure is so on point because it's like you wear the weight of, you know, I'm the person people call.
Right.
I'm the person people look to. My dad, he was all of our pastor. Now I'm everybody's pastor.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even in the family, it's like I'm the pastor in the family. And so, yeah, the pressure is real.
The pressure is real. And so that's good. And, you know, just thinking about that, because I think sometimes we don't think about that, you know, the name and what it carries, the pressure of it. Because, you know, and then when you think about, like, so look, even if we went outside of the church, right, you think about the Rockefellers, you think about the Bushes, you think about the Jakes, right, and then the Carnegies and things of this nature, the Kennedys. All of that pressure from having the generational blessing, right? Some people might think it's a curse because of the pressure, because of the weight, but the blessing that's in that, you know, and then how it can be sometimes weighty,
Yeah.
right? How it can be sometimes you feel like you want to run from it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't want to walk in it. So what would you say then to somebody else, whoever it may be, inside the church, outside of the church? What would you say to that person who is who is fallen in the lineage of this blessing, but they don't see it as a blessing? Right? They see it more as, you know, it's pressure. I don't want it. You know, it's a curse. Why I got to do it? I don't want to do this. What would you say to that person? Because they don't see it as a blessing, but it really is a blessing.
It only becomes overwhelming pressure when I don't embrace it. I remember CJ telling me one day, he was senior in high school. He came in and tears in his eyes. He's like, I don't know if, you know, I can handle this whole PK thing. Like, you know, people expect me to be boom, boom, boom. And, you know, everybody's thinking I'm this. And I keep hearing, you know, your dad is this. And, you know, and he was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, well, son, I'm not going to stop pastoring anytime soon. So you're going to have to figure this piece out. Right. You know, and so I think what I had to share with him was I was once there. Here's what helped me. When you are fighting it, it becomes so much pressure. It becomes so problematic. It becomes stressful. The anxiety sets in. You're not like, no, I don't want this. When you start embracing it, you start, it's like discovery then. It's like, okay, I am who I am. It's different for me. Like it was till I got to that point. Like life is different for me. Get over it. Get over yourself. I can't say what other people say. Get over it.
Right.
I can't go where other people go. Get over it. You know. So when I started embracing that, it became easier to wear the mantle.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I completely agree. Like, wearing it is heavy. It's a heavy cloak or a weighted blanket. But one of the things I would say is just keep going. Yes, it is heavy right now. There is pressure right now. But as long as you continue to keep going, God will lift that from you because he knows it's a lot, right? He called you to it. He knows what you're going to go through, what you've been through, you know, and he's going to lighten that load. His burdens are light.
Right.
And so he's going to lighten that load. You just have to keep going.
Right.
Because there are going to be people like CJ, you know, who said, like, people are watching me and this, that, and the third. And I struggle with that. I tell my team, I don't like going out and people are seeing me. Like, I don't like that. I want to stay at home. But
Right.
Bishop was the one that was like, you got to get out. You got to be amongst the people. Pastor C, I don't know how you expect this to work if you in your room all the time.
Yeah.
And
he
I'm
tells me
like,
that, too.
yeah, okay, Bishop. Bishop said I gotta get up and go. So I'll get up and go. But I had to keep doing that. He's still working on me. But I had to keep doing that in order to become more comfortable. And it also made me remember,
Right.
who are you?
Right.
First of all, whose are you?
Right.
But who are you? Walk in that.
Right.
And there's nothing nobody else can say
Right.
about what you're doing as long as you're doing the will of God.
Right.
But just keep going.
Right.
It gets easier.
It gets
Yes.
It gets
easier.
easier.
It
And
gets
when that aha moment came, that's when we started to grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the fire started. That's when it started burning on the inside. And I was like, let's go. You know, but
Right.
again, like Bishop said, I had to embrace it.
You had to embrace it.
And y'all are doing an awesome job. Faith
Yeah.
Chapel, Murfreesboro, everybody. Yeah, y'all are doing an
We
awesome
we
job.
gonna figure it out. Until then, we Zionites anyway. We got our Z.
Okay. And so for that person, that individual who's like, well, you know, my family's not in ministry.
Yeah.
You know, we're not doing all of that. We don't have a great name. You know what I'm saying? We don't have any things to pass on or things of that nature. I want to encourage them, and I want to see what you all would say to them as well. You know, you may not be in ministry. You may not have, you know, your family may not be of a great per se famous name or anything of that nature, but that doesn't mean that you still don't have a generational blessing of the good name, because God told Abraham, listen, I'm gonna make you great. I'm gonna make your name great, right? And make you be a blessing to the nations. So what can we say to those individuals who feel like my family, you know, like they just like who don't even want to be associated with their family, you know, because of the name,
Right.
you know, that their family has that may not be so good, and it may actually not feel like a blessing to them when we're talking about passing names. What would you say to them?
You know, I mentor young men in my group, my Man Maker Academy. And one of the things we talk about when we talk about affirmation, we talk about learning your name and what your name means. And not all of those young men are proud of their family name. And so there's two things. You either continue a legacy or you build one.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like you may not have a family name that's desirable or that has good fruit. So then it's important for you to establish in the bloodline
Right.
something to be desired, something that your children would love to grab hold to, right? And so it doesn't stop. And I think it's let me speak to this too, because there may be someone who's out there who's not a preacher,
Right. Right.
who says, well, my dad wasn't a preacher,
Right.
but he was saved,
Right.
or my mom wasn't necessarily a pastor, and I don't even flow in that. Like
Right.
I'm a media guy.
Right.
Let me say this. Jesus gives two great commands. He says, be salt of the earth and lights of the world, not salt of the church,
That.
Well,
not light of the church.
well.
So God has given you something to shift markets. Let me
Talk.
I feel something moving now.
Come on and move.
To shift every disciple he called them out of the marketplace.
See?
Peter was a fisherman. Luke was a doctor. I mean, I could go down the line. Jesus was a carpenter.
Right.
So you got something to impact the world with. And I don't care if you're a preacher or not. Do you make graphics? I don't care if you don't do do you do sound? I mean, are you a motivational speaker, a coach, a mentor, whatever? Hit me. Hey. My feet got light. So you can't do that with a room full of preachers.
Come on now.
So you got something, and it might not be the pulpit. And so what I want to encourage that person who's watching, you start a generation of believers that do ministry and marketplace. And I mean, that's what's happening in this generation anyway.
Right.
Like, it's coming out of the four walls. And we're starting to do ministry in various places. And so I want to encourage that person, like, you either continue a legacy, or if you don't have a desired one, you build one with your own uniqueness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And some people might not know exactly, like you said, like they don't know how to even start, right? And it's like, no matter where you come from, you have the opportunity, like Bishop said, yeah, we connected because I had the same thought. You can start where you are,
Right.
and start building a legacy. Just, I think about Christmas time. We lost my mom, my grandparents. Like, what do we do?
Wow.
We had to, Kyla and I had to start our own Christmas tradition.
Come on.
And so it was difficult, but it's been done before.
Right.
It's possible.
Right.
And so I think that's the thing. Again, keep going and find, like, what speaks to you.
Come on.
What speaks to your children? What works?
Yeah.
Continue to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody needs what you got.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We have to have McDonald's workers.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I like chicken nuggets and
Exactly.
French fries. Somebody got to flip them. I like them hot.
Yes.
If we take away them and the construction workers and all of those,
Come on.
what do we have?
Right.
We have a helpless world.
Right.
God gave them to us, and we're not using them.
Right.
Or we're downplaying
Right.
what they do.
Yeah.
No, everyone has a place.
I love it.
Everyone has something that they can give to
Everyone.
the world,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? So you might not have a Rockefeller name, but you can start building that legacy.
Come on.
Think about people who they've never had anyone in their family go to college. They've never had anyone graduate high school.
Right.
By them doing that, they're already building a legacy.
Building it.
They're already showing their children that, I love you if you stop right here, but if you keep going,
Come on.
here are the things that you can accomplish
Come
for
on.
your children
Right.
and
Yeah.
your children's children.
Right.
It's all about the setup.
The
Yeah, the
setup.
setup.
It's all about the setup.
Yeah.
You can be the setup, and even us, we're being the setup. Everything was, it's legacy, but we're different.
Right.
We're very different in our deliveries and how we, relate to people. And so you don't always have the setup, but you can be the setup. You can be the
Ooh,
setup.
you can be the setup.
Be the setup.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And so I want, to just go on this route, just bringing it back, of course, back here. We talked about the siblings, right? So we talked about it being the family name. And then we have where you all, right, are walking in the ministry, and I'm in it too, right? But I still feel like he's the one who carrying the legacy. But so what would you say, right, to your siblings, right, or to people who are siblings of somebody else who's walking in the legacy, because they may feel like, well, they're doing it, he's got it. Like, for instance, we have one brother who's not even here, right? And so he's not even here to do ministry with us, all of us, and so he's like, well, y'all got it. But he fails to understand, in my eyes sometimes, bro, you already carrying legacy. You got the name, so you. Hey, baby. So you got the name in itself. You know what I'm saying? Just when they say your name, they're saying his name, which automatically brings that back up. So I'm gonna let you minister to our brother on that, right? So just talk.
Yeah.
Just talk to somebody who feels like I don't have, that sibling rather, who is like the next person is doing it. They're the ones that's carrying it. I'm just over here. I don't do that. I'm not the preacher. I'm not that. I'm not carrying that. But you're still carrying the family name. Minister to that.
you just made a statement. You said you feel like I'm the one carrying the legacy. I'm just the one out front. You know what you see what I'm saying? Like we all have our spaces. We all have our spheres. There's some people you can reach that I can't. There's some people that Kim can reach that I can't. There's some people that Tommy can reach that I can't. You see what I'm saying? So like we all have our space. And I think that's what's important for us to understand is it's just you're going to have certain people who are just going to be the ones out front. So when we talk about the disciples, if we were just sitting here talking about the who's who of the disciples,
Right.
who would come to mind?
Peter.
Peter. Nobody ever talks about the one who invited him to church.
Right.
Andrew.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Peter just was the one out front.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Bishop just blessed.
I mean, and so
true.
like it doesn't make Andrew any less
Yes.
significant.
That's true.
And so like he was strong enough, he was powerful enough to bring Peter, the rock, the one who said, Jesus said, upon this rock I build my church. Well, if it wasn't for his brother
Right.
who drug him to Jesus,
That's true.
we would have never known who Peter was.
Right.
That's good.
So who's more significant? So I want to encourage that sibling. You see,
We was just looking at each other like,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you help practically raise us. Think about that.
Wow.
You're the oldest. Yeah, I had to tell that. It's flowing with my story. You're the oldest. You help practically shape and mold us into who we are today. You see what I'm saying? If it wasn't for Melissa Johnson, people wouldn't know a Chris Johnson or a Kim Johnson. You see, you were actually in ministry longer than me. See, like this is stuff people don't. I'm just the one out front.
Yeah.
But nobody knows who was behind the scenes steering and rearing. My senior year, I lived with you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like, I think what people have to realize is there's some people who are called to certain roles. And some of those roles dictate that they should be the one in front of the camera, that there should be the one, people, I'm just happen to be in this situation, the pastor.
Right.
But I'm telling you, it doesn't make Toddy's role, he's my role model.
Right.
That's my oldest brother, y'all. He played at the University of Alabama, played in the NFL. And to this day, when I meet people, I use his name.
See?
Yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah.
You know how many doors that's got me into?
Yeah.
Right.
How many opportunities I've had because I mention and reference my brother. That's legacy.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I even think about Kim. I even thinking about what she does, how she has shaped and molded me. I watch her. She's one of my unsung heroes. Single mom, raising 3 girls. Come on. And seeing the stuff she has come through.
Right. Right.
Like that's heroic.
Right.
And so I say that to say the people y'all will be able to reach. I'm just the one out front. Y'all, the other siblings have such a huge and significant role. And the last thing I'm gonna say to that, it is y'all make pastoring easy for me. It's those people who are not out front, who are not in the camera, that become strength for the ones who have to wear the burden of I got to be the one shoulder to blow. And the only reason why I'm strong enough is because I get to come home and be authentically me with the support of my siblings who also carry and share the legacy.
Right.
Okay, I'm done.
That's good.
Thank you, Bishop. I agree with that wholeheartedly, and I envy you in that because there are 4 of us. And we're so far apart in age. I have a sister that's 60, a sister that's 56, and a sister that is 54. And so here I am at 42.
Wow.
And so I never really, they grew up as my aunts, kind of, sort of, right? I had like 4 moms, which, Lord, he kept me. God is a keeper. And so with me going into ministry, first of all, my mom's passing did cause tension, right? And then I noticed that as I got closer to what God has for me and walking in my calling, the stronger that tension got. And you have those who pour into your ministry and they're like, come on, bruh, you can do it. And if it wasn't for Pastor Jay and if it wasn't for your brother, I don't feel like I have that.
Wow.
And that's just me being real.
Yeah.
All I want is for you to support the cause.
Wow.
You don't have to pave a way. You don't have to pay a dime. I just want you to come to church when you're in town.
Right.
Wow.
I just want you to call and say, sis, how was service today? I was watching. You know, sis, how are you doing with your studying? Are you okay? Do you need anything? I don't have that.
Wow.
And so my thing would be is if you have someone within the ministry in your family and you are not in that realm, support them.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a phone call. I don't care if it's a pat on the back, a hug. Sis, I don't know what you're going through, but you know, I can be here like mom. I don't have mom here to say, you know, yep, this is what you do. Nope, you don't either. But you have extensions of your father to support you.
Yeah.
I have what I feel like is nobody within a sibling.
Yeah.
But I tell you what,
Come on.
God will give you
Yes,
Yes,
he
he
will.
will.
what you need. My entire staff, leadership, they are my brothers and my sisters.
I love it.
They are the ones that call Tia, you up? What time is the podcast today? You know they're going to be, what time are we leaving? They are who give me what I need. So all that to say, it doesn't have to be a sibling. It can just be
Come on.
someone you're tied to.
Right.
Yes.
Just encourage them.
Right.
If they're studying, just sit in the room in the background and pray while they're studying.
I love it.
That God will use them and whatever flows is on the paper. And like, that's all some people need. So if you're not in ministry, but you have someone that is tied to ministry, just support them.
Just support them.
Just support them.
Nothing like
That means
love
the
it.
world to me. Just support me. That's
Okay.
all I ask.
That's good. That's good.
I just learned something new about you. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have 3 sisters.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do. Not a lot of people do because I'm here.
Right.
I'm here. Everyone else is in other states, but yep, I have 3 sisters, and their names are Tammy, Tanya, and Tony.
Oh, the
And
3
you're
T's.
Taylor.
And I'm Taylor.
4 T's.
The 4 T's.
Yeah, the 4 T's.
Oh gosh, that's awesome. Well, we're about to close this up. This has just really been good. It's been informative and just enlightening, and I hope it's blessing, other people who are listening again, who may not be in ministry and all that other stuff, but you may be business. Maybe your parents trying to give you a business and you don't want it, right? I don't want to do that, and they're trying to set you up with that generational blessing. I want to encourage you to at least look at it. And so as we get ready to close, let's talk to that next generation. Let's talk to CJ. Let's talk to Kyla, right? And, and just share with them or encourage them or instruct them in this moment. One of the things we were talking about the other day is how, like all of our nieces and nephews, like, we don't think y'all ain't, you don't have an understanding of what we have here, and how, because we remember my daddy used to tell us this family is destined for greatness. And we can quote that like the back of our head.
Here you go again.
He would say it all the
Greatness,
time.
greatness, greatness.
Yeah, and so we trying to tell them that, and they just look at us like, okay, but y'all don't understand that he has passed that generation. So, like what can we say to this next generation that's coming up so that they can understand the value, of the good name, understanding the value of the blessing that's coming down? Because the truth of the matter, there's so many people who wish their peers wish that they had the name, the family, right, the legacy that they're carrying, that they're just shunning off Esau like it's nothing.
Yeah.
The voices are getting weak. You look at the generals of our day. You see your T.D. Jakes. The voices are getting weak. The eyes are getting dimmer. They're slowing down. You see your Noel Joneses, and and you take that and you go close and more personal. Many of our old generals, just in the past 10, 15 years, let's speak in Murfreesboro in general, a lot of pastors have retired.
Yeah.
A lot of pastors are quitting.
Yes.
Some didn't make it out of the pandemic.
Yes.
What I would say to this next generation is value the voices that are still here.
Yes.
That's good.
Because there's going to come a time when it's your turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're gonna wish you had voices.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, it's not necessarily. I didn't need from TP strategy.
Right. Right.
I had that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of had. I got an idea what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. You know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, and it's
And
a
you
little
gonna do it-
different. It's a
you gonna
little
do it
different.
anyway.
It's a little different than what you.
Just a little bit.
You see what? But what I valued was the voice.
The voice.
You know, it was the different ways of looking at things. It was the strategy behind the strategy.
Right.
It's not necessarily the strategy, but why.
Why?
You see, it was having the conviction behind the decisions. It was how you managing and treating people. It was here's what you want to be careful for when you think about this. The voice. And so that's why even now when daddy died and it was important for me, Pastor Carpenter retired, I said I need a pastor.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And so that's why I went to Pastor Jimmy Greer and sat at his feet. I don't need strategy from Pastor Greer.
Right.
Right.
The voice.
Right.
I need his voice.
You need the voice.
You see,
Yeah.
I want to hear his stories. I sit with Pastor Greer sometimes, and I just go have lunch with him, and he's gonna tell at least 5 stories. He's gonna tell at least 5 stories. Chris, we had this old church mother, and I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Right. The wisdom.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah.
And so, what I would say to this next generation is embrace the voices that are still pouring,
Yeah.
because the voices are gonna soon fade away,
Yeah.
and you're gonna need that.
Yeah.
And so, I would say value that.
Right. And what I think was very, and I'm trying not to let my eyes leak right here.
It's all right.
For those that know, when we were able to witness Bishop Jakes as last year as he passed that mantle
Yeah.
to Sarah,
Wow.
you know, and just the whole dynamic of it, and I was done. I'm just gonna put it like that.
It hit
It was
you.
heavy. It was a good heavy, but it was heavy.
It was heavy, you know what I'm saying? To be able to see him move, still in his thing, but he says, I'm going to move out the way right here. I'm going to give a woman thou loose so that woman can evolve.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And how he just, and then the picture of him walking off the stage
Yeah.
while she's still down there laid out and can't get.
Spoke volumes.
It spoke volumes.
did.
It
It
spoke
did.
volumes because, again, the legacy being passed, the name being passed. So, because we all know Sarah Jake's going to be able to get whatever she want to get just because who her daddy is.
Right.
Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That stadium was filled because her daddy
Her
filled
daddy
it.
filled it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we don't have to, I'm talking to the younger, you don't have to struggle.
Just listen. Just watch and listen.
Watch and listen.
Watch and listen. That's what I would say to Kyla sitting over there. Just watch and listen. I say all the time, we grew up together, right? And just like she watched me go through school, she watched me work these jobs, have struggles with these folks, try to bite my tongue, go through all of this stuff. She's heard me and she's watching, and it's still today. She's watching me right now, right? She's watching how to poise and carry yourself when you are on a podcast. Like everything that you do, they're watching. And I want to say this, it's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. It's a lot of pressure to be a PK.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to mess up.
Going to.
You will. It's inevitable. You're not perfect. No one is perfect. You're going to do things that you're ashamed of. You're going to do things that you feel that God will be ashamed of.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
You know, people put ministry on a pedestal, pastors, ministers, prophets, evangelists. They put them on a pedestal, and the minute they blink the wrong eye.
Come on.
Did you see her eye was twitching? She's on something. I mean,
My lash.
It was
The
it was my lash. It was my contour. I was literally like just dabbing. How did we get she on crack from? I was dabbing my contour. Like, what are we doing? Like, yes, you will be scrutinized, but don't stop being who you are.
Right.
Be who God called you to be, but you're also human.
Yeah.
And don't forget where you come from.
Come on.
Again, whose you are. And in those moments where you feel like you're being scrutinized heavy, remember the voices. Remember the legacy. Hey, mom and daddy was scrutinized too.
Yes,
Yeah.
they were.
What did they do?
Yeah.
What did you see them do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw them get on their knees and pray. I
Mhm.
saw them fast. It worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
It'll work for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
My
It's
God.
okay.
Yeah, and just in you saying that, one of the things I remember my dad, because we would be like, Daddy, why don't you, what I'm saying, somebody cutting up. We like, why are you taking that? You got to learn how to be wise as a serpent and
harmless as a dove.
And we be like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
That sound like my daddy.
No, that's Moses talking. I'm Joshua. Give me a sword.
I'm ready to
I'm-
cut.
I'm ready to fight. I'm gonna give you some Peterisms. I'm ready to fight.
You know what I so value and appreciate about what I see with you and Kyla
Mm-hmm.
is the opportunity y'all have to do ministry together.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know what it was with you. I never really had that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember moments after. Well, it's probably about 2 months after
Mm-hmm.
Daddy died.
Mm-hmm.
We were on a trip. Toy and I were going somewhere, and everything was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And she was listening to this Smoky Norfolk CD,
Mm-hmm.
and he fooled around and called his daddy up on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's just on the CD.
Wow.
And his words were, I get the awesome privilege of traveling all over the country and doing ministry with my daddy. And I just lost it.
Yeah.
I'm like, Toya looking at me like, what is going on? I just lost because I never will have
Mm-hmm.
that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm seeing, what we have the awesome privilege to do
Yes. Yes.
is you with Kyla, me with CJ, and I still think something on Taraja or Jarrell. I don't know which one yet. Something going on.
Something's
But
brewing.
we get to do it with our
Mm-hmm.
with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's such an awesome privilege
Yeah.
for the kids to know and realize if you still have that opportunity to share pulpits,
Mm-hmm.
share stages and moments
Mhm.
with your parents
Yes.
while they're still living.
Mhm.
Yes.
Like that is so powerful.
It is. It is. It
You know.
really is. I didn't get that opportunity either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't accept my calling until I was 38.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had been gone for 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? She
Wow.
knew, and I
Right.
was able to talk to her, but I didn't get to walk alongside her in that ministry. I was just, member of her choir,
Wow.
and so now today was Kyla's first communion,
Mm-hmm.
standing beside her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Made me
That's
so proud.
powerful.
Yeah.
It made me so proud.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, I didn't get to do this with Dr. Kennedy, but she left a legacy
Yeah.
to the point where Kyla and I can do it. Baby, I wasn't able to do it with you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I promise you're going to be able to do it with yours.
Yeah.
And you all are going to do greater works.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That
You-
is
you
so
guys are
powerful.
going to be
That's
greater,
good.
do greater works.
Mhm.
So it's all appropriate for today. Today
Mhm.
was beautiful, and I got to stand
Mhm.
alongside of her, and I could feel, how you feel things.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
feel a vibe.
Yeah.
It was good to feel home
Mm-hmm.
right next to me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And just know that she's watching me.
Mm-hmm.
She's reading what I'm reading. She's watching the deacons.
Mhm.
She learned. It was an experience
Mhm.
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it just felt so good to give her something that I never had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And see, just hearing both of you say that, I can say that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I had the opportunity to do ministry, with Daddy, before I moved.
See?
And now sitting here and listening to you all and just the whole conversation, I'm trying not to let my eyes
I
leak
see.
Hey, Pastor
see.
Jay. Sis, let it out.
because I wish I had valued
Mm.
Wow.
that opportunity. I didn't see the value of it at the time.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
For various reasons,
Yeah.
right? And so now I wish I had taken more opportunity to, to just glean more,
Yeah.
to pay
Mhm.
closer attention to
Mhm.
the wisdom that he was given that I may have at that moment thought was a little
Mhm.
antiquated,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
and just be able to just be in
Mhm.
that moment. So I'm
Mhm.
telling you, cheering,
Mhm.
right?
Cheering.
Cheering.
To
Spell it.
value that time that you get to do whatever you get to do with your parents, whether it's
Mhm.
business, whether it's ministry,
Mhm.
whatever it is. If it's just going on cruises and just
Mhm.
living life,
Mhm.
whatever time you get to spend with your loved one,
Mhm.
especially a parent, just value that
Yeah.
and value the
Yeah,
wisdom of
yeah.
that.
I love that you said that because you did get to serve with him,
Mhm.
but you also did what you were supposed to do. You did glean from him
Mm.
because I'm pretty sure there are times things come up and you heard Bishop's voice. You have what he said to you hidden in your heart. And so whenever something happens, I'm sorry. Whenever something this is how I look at it. Whenever something happens, I think about all the things my mother would say. Even if I haven't served with her in a ministry and I've watched her, I've replayed it in my head, or I've thought about what she said, right? And it still encouraged me. So no matter how you feel about, I took it for granted or I didn't pay attention, it didn't fall on deaf ears. Your heart heard. Yeah. But your ears didn't. But he poured into your heart. It wasn't for him to pour into your ears. We can hear. He poured into your heart. And so I just want you to remember that.
Well, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Powerful.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think I'm done. Okay.
Do you need me to do the outro?
Yeah,
do
go,
you
Bishop.
Listen, everybody.
You need to hold my hand, sis. I got you.
This has been Real Talk at the Z, a podcast where we have real conversations with real people. We've been talking about generational blessings. This is Pastor O, Pastor J, Bishop J. We're out.
We're out.
That's why it's